If you want to learn easy addition for your GCSEs, then keep watching. Feel free to join in with the lesson. If you want to have a go at the activities, you'll need something to write on and with, so grab yourself a pen and piece of paper. If you need a moment to pause the video to read through the task board, do that now, otherwise we're going to jump right in. Firstly, let us look at counting strategies. These are ways to add small, often single-digit numbers together. We do not need to see a written method for this. That's not what we're going to do. What we are looking for is counting methods, and it's absolutely fine to count on your fingers or along a ruler in an exam. In fact, we love to see this. Not every addition calculation will require you to use a written method. Take this one for example. If we tried to do this using a written method, we're just going to end up putting 8 plus 3 on top like that, which we would then calculate in our heads anyway. However, if you do struggle with counting on, there are a couple of things you can do to help yourself out. So take this calculation for example. As long as I've got one of my numbers is 10 or fewer, I can count that on using my fingers. I will always start by putting the larger number in my head first, and then put this many fingers up so I'm able to count on. So for example, I would say 8 in my head and have 3 fingers ready. So I can go 8 in my head and count on 9, 10, 11. So the answer to this question would be 11. And it doesn't matter if one of your numbers is much larger. For example, if I started with 56, obviously I haven't got 56 fingers to count on, but if I'm only adding a number that is 10 or less, I will have enough fingers to do the counting on. So if I say 56 in my head plus my 8, that will be 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64. And notice I had my 8 fingers ready to count those on. And don't be worried if the first number in your calculation isn't the largest. For example, you could have 5 plus 36. As long as you remember that you put the largest number in your head, then you can count on using your fingers. So I'm going to have my 5 ready to count on. I've got 36 in my head, and then I'm going to count 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Another strategy some people like to use is counting along using a ruler, and it uses the same principle. And if you've got a 30 centimetre ruler, that lets you count on numbers up to 30. So it just means we can count on a bit larger than what our 10 fingers allow us to. So if I'm starting at 23, that's going to be my number in my head because that's the largest. And then I can see 15 is here. So that shows me how many steps I need to count on. So 23 in my head, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. And remember, you will have your ruler in your exam, so you can use it for this purpose. If you've only got a 15 centimetre ruler, you'll only be able to use this method to count on up to 15 more. But it is useful if you want to count on up to 30 along your ruler. After that, it becomes more efficient and more effective to use a written method, and we'll look at that next. So let's start with some example pairs. I'm going to do one, and then if you grab your pen and paper, you can do one as well, and then I'll give you the answer so you can check you're doing it right. So we are going to be using the column method for addition of 2 or more digit numbers or addition with decimals. We will use the column method because it's the easiest method, and you can use counting within it to make it easier. We don't like to overcomplicate things if we can help it. So we're going to put one number on top of the other, making sure we align our 1s and our 10s. And then give ourselves space to write the answer and putting the plus symbol to the side so we know what operation that we're doing. And then it's as simple as working from the 1s and then the 10s, and then if you've got any bigger digits after that, following through with those. So I'm going to go 4 add 3, and if I don't know that, I can use one of my counting methods. So I can have 4 in my head and count on 5, 6, 7. And then I've got 5 add 6, which is 11, which I'm going to write in front. So 54 plus 63 is 117. Here's one for you to have a go at. We've got 23 add 75. I'm going to help you with the setup just in case you're not sure. So remember to line up your place value columns. So I've got the 10s directly underneath each other and the 1s directly underneath each other. I'm showing that it's an addition and I'm giving myself a space for the answer. Pause the video if you need a little bit longer to work this one out. That's absolutely fine. Otherwise we'll go in and do the answer together. I've got 3 add 5. So you might put 3 in your head and count on 5. If you're doing this using a counting method, you might just know it. Or if it's easier, you can put the 5 in your head and count on 3. So I can go 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I've got 2 plus 7, so I could go 7, count on 2, 8, 9. So adding these two numbers together gives me 98. Let's have a look at when we've got a 3-digit number and a 2-digit number, because you have to be careful when lining them up. You don't want to mix up your place value. So I'm not going to write 168 here and then put the 49 here, because that suggests I've put a 4 under 100, 4 in the hundreds column. That's not right. The 4 is in the tens column. So that we're not going to be doing. That's wrong. What we are going to be doing is our 168. Now the 6 is what's in the tens column, so our 4 goes underneath that, and our 8 in 168 is in the ones column, so our 9 goes underneath that. Because there are no hundreds in my 49, I don't need to put anything in the hundreds column for the second number. If you want to put a 0 there, you can, but it's not necessary. Remembering to put my add sign to the side and giving myself space to work out the answer. We've got 8 add 9, which again, you can use a counting method. I know that that's 17, so I'm going to pop the 7 down, and this is the first time we've had to carry one. So we put the 7 from the ones, and we carry the 10 into the next column from the 17. I've now got 6 add 4, and I have to remember to add that 1 I carried. So 6 add 4 is 7, 8, 9, 10. Add 1 more is 11. So I put the 1s of 11 down, carry the 10. So now I've got 1 in the hundreds column, plus the 1 I carried is 2. So we get the answer 217. Here's one for you to have a go at. Remember to take care when you're setting this one up, much like I did here. So you're going to be doing what I've done in the dark blue pen, not what I did in the red pen. The red pen is incorrect. So we've got 287, and my 84 is positioned underneath the 8 and the 7 in 287. I've put my addition sign so I know what operation I'm doing, and I've made a space for my answer. 7 plus 4 is 11, so I've put the 1 of the 11 down and carried the 10. 8 add 8 is 16, plus 1 more is 17, and 2 add the 1 I carried is 3, so the answer is 371. We can even apply this method to decimals. So I'm going to put my 12.8 down, and I've also got 57.02. And the thing we need to make sure we align with questions like this is the decimal point. And notice I've even put that in my answer space, ready to go, all part of my setup, with my plus to the side and my space for my answer. If it's easier for you, you can put what we call a placeholder in this empty gap above the 2, because there's not another digit after the 12.8. But if it makes it easier for you to have a digit there, we can put a 0 there. So then we say to ourselves, 0 add 2 is 2. 8 add 0 is 8. Then we're coming over the decimal point. 2 add 7 is 9. And 1 add 5 is 6. So our answer is 69.82. Here's one for you to have a go at. I'm going to go straight in with the answer for this one in just a few seconds. So if you want to pause the video, then please do, so you have enough time to have a go. So we've got 31.9 plus 11.16. I've lined up my decimal point and popped one in my answer space, and I've got my plus to one side to show me what operation I'm doing. And if you want to, you can put an optional 0 in there, so you've got the same number of decimal places to make it easier to read and add together. Starting from the right, we've got 0 plus 6 is 6. 9 plus 1, now we have to remember to use our carrying that we saw in the previous example pair. 9 plus 1 is 10, so I'm going to pop the 0 down, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus the 1 I carried is 3, and 3 plus 1 is 4. So our answer is 43.06. For this next part of the lesson, this is just to check your understanding a little bit more quickly. So I'll put 4 options on the screen, as you can see, and so you can choose whether it's A, B, C or D. I'm going to give you a few seconds in case you want to jot something down to work this one out, remembering to line up your columns when you're doing this addition. And the correct answer for this one is 94. So if you said B, you would be correct. Slightly harder, take care lining up your columns when you write this down. And hopefully for this one, you got C, 201. Remember, if I'm going too fast at any point during these, you can pause the video just to ensure you've got enough time to have a go. And here are our options for this decimal question, 5.8 plus 14.3. Hopefully for this one, you've gone for A, 20.1. One more question. Once again, take care lining this one up. We do have a large number as our second number. And hopefully for this one, you put C, 167. If you would like a bit more independent practice, there are 8 questions all mixed up on the screen for you to have a go at, and I will pop the answers up in just a few moments, so pause the video so you've got time to do them, and then come back and you can mark your answers just to check you're doing it right. And here are the answers written for you in red, so you can check what you've done so far. And if there's anything you didn't get right, anything you're not sure of, be sure to go back and just check those example pairs for the method. It might be that you've lined your numbers up wrong, it might be that you've counted wrong or carried wrong, so do give that one double check. A big well done for taking part in this lesson. It's great that you're giving yourself positive opportunities to succeed in your GCSEs. I'm Charlotte, and I'll be back with more content on how to make your results day one to celebrate. In the meantime, you can also find more videos on YouTube, as well as quizzes and revision tips over on TikTok and Instagram. So make sure you're following us there, and I will see you next time.